Hey YouTube, welcome back. Happy Saturday. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Comics and Stuff. My name is Devin and I am your host as always. Today we have a very special guest, my friend Gene, one of the co-owners and founders of Shortboxed, the online and app that you can use to buy your graded comic book collectibles. I'm going to bring Gene in here and we're going to talk to him about how everything came to be and where he is at now and where, I guess, the future of Shortboxed. So Gene, come on in here. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, what's up, Devin? How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to be here. I know you have so much stuff to do with running this app and this business. I want everybody to know I've known you for several years, but you know the whole internet doesn't. So let's kind of start back a little bit. Who is Gene? What do you do? Where do you come before Shortboxed happened? Tell me a little bit about
that's
that.
such a loaded question. But before I get to Devin, I do want to call out. I do like your T-shirt. I also want to make it clear that we did not pay Devin to wear that T-shirt
No, I
in
just
this interview. So thank you for wearing that and representing Shortbox. So that's awesome. So
absolutely.
nice. Looks good on you.
Oh, thank you. I'm told black is my color, so
There we go. It definitely is. Me too.
Oh, good. All right. See, birds
Yeah.
of a feather. So, tell me, Gene, what did you do before Shortboxed? What have you been doing with yourself?
Yeah. Wow. Where do you even begin with that? Obviously, I am a massive comic book nerd. I've
Oh, yeah.
been a comic book nerd my entire life. You know, ever since I can remember, literally my entire life, been reading, collecting comic books since I can't say day one because that's just not possible. But you know, as early as I can remember, I've been a comic book nerd. But before founding Shortbox, I built a career in tech. I'm a Bay Area native, and I've worked for a number of startups and high growth companies here out in San Francisco in the Bay Area. Background is in marketing and product, and just had the pleasure of building some amazing companies in the past with some pretty awesome startups here in the Valley. And finally took the plunge myself. Got together with my co-founder and CTO BJ, who's also someone who works in tech and just has built an amazing career here as an engineer. And that's what led us down the path to starting Shortbox. But really before that, we worked in tech. Myself on the marketing product side and BJ, my co-founder, on the engineering side. Now we get to combine our passion for comic books with our technical and professional expertise to do what we love. And it's awesome. And it's such a blessing to do what we do.
All right. So with our powers combined, okay,
Exactly.
I can take that. I'll accept that. Now, when tell me about when did you start to go from, okay, well, I really like comics, I read comics, to like, I think I seriously want to start like collecting, higher end, comic books and really getting into this hobby. What was that turning point for you?
Yeah, and I feel like every collector sort of goes through this, right? There's an ebb
Mhm.
and a flow to your collecting life. Sometimes there's periods where you just kind of give up collecting for a while. Maybe for me it was when I was in high school and
Oh
college
yeah.
because I was busy with doing that whole thing and being an angsty teenager and figuring out my life. So I kind of took a
Oh
long
yeah.
break from comics at that point. But really, it was shortly after college, entering the workforce, starting to make some money, having some disposable income, and I realized that I could finally afford the comics I could never afford as a kid.
Oh yeah.
And that was just sort of like a mind-blowing moment for me where I thought, wow, I could actually go back. And at the time for me, that meant, you know, Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns #1, because that's really what I grew up reading.
Right.
But it also came down to, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. And I grew up exposed to all those awesome 80s series like Frank Miller's Dark Knight and Punisher Limited series and the Turtles and all of the wild and crazy 80s indies books. But of course, once you get back into collecting after taking some time off, it's a snowball.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you've been through this. You get into one lane, next year into 4 different lanes, and everything just kind of spirals out of control. And I went from rediscovering my love for comic books. Fast forward, you know, 10 to 12 years later, and here I am, the founder of a comic book marketplace company. So it is a stretch to say that things really got out of hand really quick, and I really went from 0 to 100, what feels like overnight. And so yeah, that was really sort of that transition around that time. Was once I had a little bit of disposable income and I can go back and collect all my childhood books, and then again going after all the Bronze Age keys and all the Silver Age keys. And then more recently, as of just a few years ago, getting really into Golden Age comics,
Oh
which
yeah.
is a massive, massive, massive deep hole that you can go down, forever and ever. So that's really what I collect right now is just primarily Golden Age.
Yeah, I know a little bit about falling into that golden age
Yeah,
rabbit
you
hole.
do.
It is a devious place. It's a lot of fun. It's just once you're there, it's hard to get out. And I recommend it for everybody, but I also don't recommend it.
It's
But I recommend it
I
for
love
everybody.
it. Yeah,
I
and
love it. It's great.
what's awesome about the Golden Age is just the actual rarity of the books,
Mhm.
right? Like rare on the census for a Golden Age book might be 6 copies, and
It's
rare
true.
for a Silver Age key might be 6,000. So there's the actual rarity of them is awesome, and you could go years trying to track down a copy of a book without ever finding one. And then if one pops up for auction, that's when you kind of just throw all of your self control out the door, and do whatever it takes to get that book. That's happened with
Absolutely.
me a few times. But also, Golden Age, there's just so many genres and subgenres that you can just get lost in. And for myself, I don't collect just one type of Golden Age book. It's not just, Alex Schomburg timelies or just war books. I love it all.
Right.
I love the war books. I love the timelies. I love pre-code horror, romance, sci-fi.
Yes.
Um, LB Cole is my dude. I love LB Cole, the artist. He's my favorite Golden Age artist. So I've basically hunted down every single LB Cole book there is. And it's really just, yeah, it's a slippery slope. Archie's, I love Archie's too.
Oh,
So,
Archie's. Oh man.
I
Yes.
love a little bit of everything. Actually, Devin, if you don't mind me
Sure.
going rogue right now, I actually have a stack of Archies
Let's see a stack
right
of
next
Archies.
to me.
Let's do
Just
it.
like pure coincidentally, I did not plan this. Right when I mentioned Archies, I noticed that I had a stack of some of my Archie books here. So I'm actually in the Shortboxed headquarters right now. I'm in our conference room, but every Monday we have an all-team meeting. We have a pretty distributed team. So some of us are remote, some of us are working out of headquarters here in San Francisco, but we
Mhm.
always do a show and tell where people just show off some recent books that they bought or just some
Oh,
cool
that's so
things that they
cool.
picked up. And my most recent one, I wanted to show some Archie books. So I collect Archie books, but specifically, I'm putting together a run of 1 through 50. So
Okay.
just volume one Archie from the early to the late 40s, issues 1 through 50. This is admittedly going to be a multi-year journey for me, especially once you start getting into the early Archies. It can get
Oh yeah.
really,
They're just
really,
hard
really,
to
really
find.
expensive, especially once you get into the single digits. Not to mention issue number 1, which I don't have yet, but I do have some here. So I got some cool stuff here.
Yeah. Let's see what you got, man.
Got
Oof.
an Archie number 9.
Okay. Okay.
Good Betty and the Veronica cover.
I love those Archie covers, man.
Yeah, an Archie 10.
Whew.
Yeah, just the classic Archie.
Is he the sun, the moon, or is he a balloon?
Yeah, I actually don't know. I think it's the sun.
Okay.
This somewhat disturbing Archie cover where he's in a diaper. This is
All
number
right.
11. We've got classic number 12, the golf cover of Archie's
Love it.
books. Let's see. Got 14 on the pogo stick. And then I've got my favorite Archie cover, and I'm sure many others, is the classic
Oh yeah.
Archie 50.
Yes.
The Good Girl art cover. This is
Yep.
if you're a fan of GGA or Good Girl art, this is the one.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really nice
Look, it's a 6.0 too.
cover.
That's
So it's a
super
really,
nice.
really nice, really nice
Wow.
copy. So you can't not love this
Pretty.
cover.
Yeah.
So,
Well, congratulations on that one. I know that I've wanted one for quite some time. It's an expensive book and it's hard to find. So
it's
finding it out,
especially anything
Yeah.
over even just a 3.0 is impossible to
hard.
find, and then they get super expensive. But I could have just decided to collect the whole Archie run, but I decided 50 was kind of a nice place to stop. Otherwise, I could end up collecting hundreds and hundreds of
Yeah.
issues.
I've done the same thing. I with my Mystery and Space collection, as you know, I'm doing
Yep.
1 through 53, and then I just whatever other covers after that I like, but not the whole 100 something run. So I hear you there. It can be very time consuming. So you've got a really nice stack there. That is really cool. And congratulations again on that number 50. That is a gorgeous. It's the Archie cover to have. That's
I love it.
awesome.
And the whole reason why I decided to start collecting Archies is because, at least for my personal collection, again, I mentioned I collect, Golden Age books primarily, but my personal collection is pretty small. It's less than one short box. So there's only just really just a
What?
few books. Is it only, yeah, there's just less than, I used to have thousands of books. Then of course you sell and you kind of,
Yeah.
get lower and lower, and you upgrade, and you start buying more expensive books. So now my personal collection is really just one short box. But with so many conventions that we attend to, again, short boxes at a convention pretty much every 3 to 4 weeks,
Every convention. Yeah.
and almost every, it feels like. Um, I just wanted to start collecting a run just to give me something to hunt for. I'm a pure collector. I love the thrill of the hunt. So my rules are I can only buy these at cons, like in-person cons from dealers. So I can't go on eBay or any other like
Oh.
auction sites to find them. So I have to find them in person at shows because it makes it fun for me just to go and visit all the dealer booths and,
Hey,
and try and knock off a
that
couple too.
that works, man. That's awesome. That's a really good kind of like self rule that you have.
Yeah.
I have no self control. I'm constantly buying books. I need my buddy Jake to like keep me in line because he's the one that's like, no, that's not on your list. Don't buy
Yep.
it. Sit down. Stop it. you
It's
know.
like you're like the devil on one shoulder and then he's like the angel on the other. Yeah.
Yep, exactly that. So now, it sounds like you've bounced around from like you started in Bronze Age, Silver, now you've jumped into Gold, and now you're doing your Archies. What I do have to ask, what is the biggest, most it can be either in terms of monetary value or personal, worth. What is the biggest book in your collection? I'm very curious.
The biggest book. This is always an interesting question to answer because it's how do you show this off as humbly as possible? But this is something that I worked
You can
towards
flex. It's
for
okay.
years. I am a massive Batman fan. I've always been a Batman fan again since day one, and I've always wanted a copy of Detective Comics 31.
Oh,
I think it's
God.
the best Batman cover of all time. I think it's the most classic Batman cover. It's a better cover, arguably, this is my opinion, than Batman 1 or Detective Comics 27, just based on the pure artwork. And I knew that I would really only be able to get in at a 1.0 level because I knew I wanted a complete copy. So that puts it at 1.0. And there's only 3 1.0 copies on the census or in existence right now. The census actually shows 4, but one of them got resubmitted and came back a 1.5. So there's only 3 1.0 copies. And it took me a couple of years of just waiting patiently. I'm chasing every lead I could, trying to hound down the owners of the other copies. And then one of them ended up coming up for auction a couple of years back. And I knew this was my chance. I had to,
You just had to
I had
take
to
it.
go for it. I was like, I'm just gonna. That's when I kind of just closed my eyes and I just started upping my bid, as it was going. And I was like, I'll figure out what I'll have to sell after this. The goal number one is just to win. So I actually have it here.
Let's see it. Come on, man. That Tech 31. Oh my God, that is just wow.
Awesome.
Yeah. And arguably, and I share the opinion. It's rarer than Tech 27, right? Like Tech 27, there's a group of known copies. This one is like once in.
It's hard, and just to get a complete copy, and it's for a 1.0. It's like a see on the glare. But
it's okay for all of our viewers. There will be a larger photo of it. So
it's a pretty decent 1.0. I mean, there's no major missing pieces. I mean, I've seen some rags.
Yeah, the cover looks really nice.
And it's just nice, complete 1.0 copy. Whether or not I'll be able to upgrade this in the future, we'll see. But for now, this is if there's a fire at my place, my wife knows that there's one box to grab, and it's the comic box that has like a dozen slabs in it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've got all of my big books, which pale in comparison to that. But all my big books are in my safe deposit box. I don't keep anything here at the house. But now, and for everybody to know, you weren't born a rich man. I mean, you have worked so hard to get to where you're at, dude. So that is a huge book to have been able to add to your collection. And like, I mean, that's no small feat. So I very, very admirable. That is really cool. So now
it's well, really quick. I mean, that's kind of the fun part of collecting, right? You spend years and lots of dollars collecting all these books, and when you have your grail or you have a big book you want to upgrade to, just sell your books.
You do it,
sell your books and buy, and you keep just trading up. And I think that's what makes it fun. If you allow me one more to show off, so that is the biggest book in my collection, probably my favorite one. But while I did say I'm a huge Golden Age collector, I also love underground comics. Underground comics from the late 60s through the 70s. Especially Robert Crumb, books from publishers like Apex and Last Gasp and all those classic underground comics because I'm a Bay native. I've lived in San Francisco for more than half my life, and really part of the whole counterculture movement in the '60s, and part of that was underground comics. And the one that kicked it all off, the action one of underground comics is Zap Comics #1, classic Robert Crumb issue, and I was able to score a gorgeous,
Whoa.
gorgeous 9.6.
Wow,
This
9.6.
is
Holy cow.
tied for the highest graded copy. There's no 9.8s. I've looked this over with a magnifying glass to see if there's any way this can get a 9.8. I don't think it's possible. I'm also not going to risk it. But
Wow.
the highest grade is 9.6 on this one. So not only is it just like a cool book and it's historically significant in the comic space, but also part of San Francisco's history and culture. This is a pretty iconic piece of
That's
artwork from
that thing
era,
is
which I love.
insanely cool. And I appreciate that you're so passionate about your books. You said something earlier about how as you've grown as a collector, your personal collection has gotten smaller and smaller
Yeah.
and smaller. I had a similar conversation the other day with a few other collectors where they all say, well, yeah, a real collector, they only have one box of books, right? And I was like, really? Because I've got like three maybe, and they're like, you're on your way. And I was like, I don't know if I can get rid of my stuff, but like all the guys that I know that just have these insane collections, yeah, you guys got one box of just the coolest stuff
Right.
ever.
Although
Like,
I will disagree respectfully, of course. You got to collect what you love,
oh
right?
yeah.
People love collecting runs.
Mhm.
People love just collecting key issues. People love downsizing and getting down to one box or even one big book. I've been every type of collector you can imagine. I've
Oh yeah.
collected tons of runs, and honestly, I get just as much joy and satisfaction out of digging through dollar boxes and finding something that I'm missing in a random run that no one
That's
else
always
cares
nice.
about, as I do scoring a Zap one or a Tech 31. It honestly brings me just as much joy when you find that piece, or you fill that hole, or you get the last book you need in a run.
Oh yeah.
There's just something about just hunting and flipping and
It's
just like box diving. Like
it's always so
I love
nice.
it.
Like I think one of my favorite stories that I have was I was digging through dollar boxes at a shop up in Canada, and I found an old Strange Adventures cover with like some like it was like how this mailman saved the earth, and I just really liked it, and
Mhm.
I bought it for like $10, and I sent it off to CGC with a group of other um Strange Adventures books, but it came back as part of the Circle 8 pedigree.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I bought it for like $10 at like it was like in the basement of like some random comic shop in Toronto. So like that,
Wow.
things like that is just it's so cool. Yeah, I like my three boxes that are off camera, and I also have like almost I have complete full runs of most of Dark Horse Star Wars, but that's because
Nice.
that's how I got into comics, man. I started reading Star Wars stuff. So um now I am curious. Tell me, so you've been a collector, you have all these great books, and then Shortboxed came. How did Shortboxed come about? What is the genesis, the origin story, if you would? Tell me a little bit about how you came around to creating Shortboxed.
Yeah. So, I did already mention that I'm a lifelong comic book nerd. My co-founder and CTO BJ also a lifelong nerd.
Hmm.
Um, we had been collecting comics and for over a decade at this point, before we founded Shortbox. And there was no one else for us to connect with online. This was over 10 years ago, before there was a big
Right.
and thriving Instagram community, before there were Facebook groups with thousands and tens of thousands of members, before Discord existed, before there were major subreddits that had thousands of members. And so we actually just went to conventions together and just hung out and collected comics together. But we really wanted to start building a community of collectors. And so we actually decided to start a blog, which we called Shortboxed. So
Oh,
Shortbox
okay.
has actually been around for over 10 years now. We started as a blog, and it was just a way for us to connect with other collectors, not just around the country, but around the world. We were just writing articles about collecting, showing off books that we got. And it was around that time we started being more active on Instagram and, starting to build, what is now a massive comics community on Instagram. And we really spent, the next 10 years fostering that community. And again, the
Well, that's how you and I
snowball.
met, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
exactly.
think I reached out to you on Instagram just to just I don't remember I don't remember how it what I reached out to you, I think, on Instagram, and then we just started talking. So we never actually met until I think that actually like 2 years ago, like in person, we grabbed a drink. But like
Yeah.
prior to that, yeah,
Yeah, we went
I
from Instagram friends to IRL friends, which is amazing. That's the
yeah.
best part of this community, this hobby. But being starting to build that community online and just meet collectors all over. We actually also started buying more, and then
Mm,
suddenly we end up with hundreds of boxes of comics, thousands of comics, and we're like, hey, let's just set up at some shows and let's just start, let's just become part-time dealers, take PTO from our day jobs, weekends off, travel the country, hit the convention circuit. And it was really through that experience of sort of seeing behind the scenes and being behind the curtain, just actually seeing how poorly and inefficiently the entire comic book secondary market is run. And
mm,
what I mean by that is nothing has really changed in 30 plus years in terms of the way collectors buy and sell comic books. When you think about the last major fundamental shift in the landscape was eBay over 30 years ago.
yeah.
A
Wow.
lot
Yeah.
of dealers and a lot of auction houses are still running them completely manually. Some are just running off Excel spreadsheets or through mail order catalogs, or you have collectors getting scammed on social media. There's scams happening left and right. It's probably happened to all of us, and basically the whole landscape is just a disaster.
Mm,
It's very complicated to do something as simple as buying and selling a comic book. It's something that should be fun. It should be easy. It should be seamless and straightforward and intuitive. But for some reason, it's not. Really, it's a lot of the incumbents in the space are running on 20-year plus web technology that are running the same technology and platforms they have for 20 plus years.
oh
And
yeah.
uh, again, I mentioned our backgrounds are in tech, and we are technologists and we're software people, and it frustrated us to no end. To put it bluntly, it pissed us off that
Fair enough.
there is this amazing, massive market of super passionate collectors, and we were stuck paying crazy complicated fees where you basically need a PhD to figure out what you're going to be charged. You need to figure out how to create listings. You need to figure out where you're going to send your books. You got to figure out how not to get scammed. It was a mess, and we really wanted to do something about it. And ultimately, we decided that the solution and the platform and the marketplace that we thought should exist would not exist unless we built it ourselves.
Mm,
So that was ultimately, call it, the light bulb moment where we realized that if we didn't do something about it, nothing would change for another 20, 30 years. We would be stuck doing the same thing decades from now. And we really saw it as an obligation to build what we felt the industry needed, using our experience and our expertise as software people to build what we think is an amazing platform. And again, we launched, just over 2 years ago. We're just getting started. There's no, as it is with software, there's never an end to it. We're always shipping new features. We're always improving. We're always making the
right.
experience better, constantly talking to our users. But it's been amazing, past 2 years with so much just love and support from the community. And the community has spoken. This is something that they want and something that we think needs to exist. And so
You guys
that's a
have
very long-winded way of saying we felt like we had to do this because it needed to exist.
Well, we appreciate that you did this. We appreciate that Shortboxed exists. I mean, you guys have made not only created an uplifted a community of collectors, but you guys have made some really significant sales on the app. I think I remember when you guys posted, we have officially surpassed $1 million in sales for the first time, and that was like a big congratulations moment. So now with all of this though comes a ton of risks and challenges and things like this,
Mhm.
and for the uneducated such as myself, because I am not a tech guy at all. What are some of the scarier moments, some of the bigger risks or challenges that you guys have had to kind of like try to overcome
Oh, wow.
while you've been building this? Just you cherry pick a few.
Yeah, there's tons, right?
Right.
Building a startup just itself is a massive, massive, massive risk and a challenge. It's something that I've been through many times in my career, building and working for failed startups and successful startups that went on to become, multi-billion-dollar market cap companies. So I really have seen it all. But in our specific use, I would say the biggest challenge was really carving out a place among a landscape that already has a lot of very entrenched
Mm.
incumbents in this space. A lot of companies that have been around for many, many decades. And you know this, Devin, as a collector yourself, comic book collectors are just very skeptical people, very skeptical and slow to adopt any new platforms or technologies.
Oh yeah.
And really, that's something that I'm going to put a blame on the incumbents for, because they forced us to be this way, because we were used to being scammed or ripped off. We're taken advantage of for so many years that anytime something new pops up, it's always like the initial reaction is always like, whoa, I don't know about that. That's I don't think we're ready for that. Or, oh, what's the catch? Oh, we're going to get scammed.
Yeah.
So really, I would say the biggest challenge is, as folks who haven't been in this industry for decades, is both a blessing and a curse, right? It's a blessing in the sense that it allowed us to write our own rule book. We're not playing by anyone's rules, and we don't need to ask for permission to do what we want to do, and we can move fast. The downside of that is really trying to carve out space among the entrenched incumbents, and getting noticed and building that trust and credibility as a brand new platform, as a new brand. That was always the biggest risk and challenge in terms of earning the trust and support from the community. But like I mentioned earlier, it's not as if we're just two random guys that decided to build a marketplace for comic books. We've been involved in this community. We've been building and fostering community for over a decade now. So it's all those relationships, just like ours, that we have as friends within this community. All those relationships go such a long way, not just from collectors, but with dealers and comic shops and other folks involved in this industry, allowing us to launch, with traction and with some sort of, built-in trust already. That really allowed
Right.
us to hit the ground running instead of building from zero. So we really didn't start from zero. We kind of had a running start, if you will. But I would say that was really the biggest challenge there, on top of technical challenges of building, a high
Right.
performance modern mobile app itself. But that's a whole other conversation in itself.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, especially when it comes to there's always going to be bugs and glitches, and I mean, you guys are the best folks to fix it because that's where you guys come from. But like, and that was actually another question I was going to say. What was it? Was it, or I was going to ask, was it difficult to get convince folks to start buying on it? But it sounds like since you guys were already ingrained in the community and people knew you, people had that trust. You guys were able to really kind of draw some business in because I mean, before you even launched the app, you guys had a pretty significant group of followers, so that probably definitely helped. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely it
Yeah.
definitely helped. We obviously had, that initial core group of users that have known us for a few years already. The relationships that we already had with dealers who gave us, our initial batch of inventory to make available to the public. And so really it's just, it's the same story today as it was, over 2 years ago when we launched. It's just continuing to earn that trust, and it really creates a snowball. The more people join the platform, or let's say the more sellers that join, the more books end up for sale. The more books that end up for sale brings more buyers. And
Right.
it just creates this amazing flywheel effect where the more people that join the platform, the stronger it gets. And the more liquidity we have in our marketplace, the easier it is for people to find books for sale. And so, it truly is, a chicken and the egg problem where you can't have one without the other. And it's really making sure that we focus on both sides of the marketplace.
Okay.
Because what good is a marketplace for comic collectors if no one is listing books for sale? And what good is it for sellers if no one's actually buying? So
Absolutely.
we definitely make sure that we go out of our way to take care of both sides of the coin.
It's a whole ecosystem you really have to manage. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, you guys are doing it, and you guys have a really awesome team of folks like working at Shortboxed, and we'll get to them in a few minutes. But now I want to ask, so graded. I'm assuming all of Shortboxed, the plan is to stay with graded collectibles to provide a level of security. Is that sort of, am I right there? Am I on target?
Let's see. Let's see what I can get baited into spilling here. Well, obviously, for those who are unfamiliar, Shortbox is a platform for buying and selling graded comic books only. For
Mhm.
now,
For now.
emphasis on
Okay.
the for now. The reason why we focus on graded comic books first is just like you said, just for trust and safety. Again, as collectors, we all know how many scams there are. We know how many times people don't disclose restoration or missing pages, or
Mhm.
anything of the sort, or even just counterfeit books or all of these sorts of things. And it's a pain. It's a
Oh
massive,
yeah.
massive pain, and it's a pain for everyone involved in the hobby. And we just wanted to make sure personally that we built a platform first focused on trust and safety, and obviously that starts with third-party graded collectibles. In our case, it's CGC and CBCS. Those are the two big companies in the space, are the ones that are the most trustworthy. So we focus only on graded comic books for now.
Okay, okay, and that's completely respectable. And I mean, yeah, that's true. That's happened to me where I was told that I had I purchased a book and I was told it's the original one. It came to me and it was a reprint from like 15 years later, and it was
Oh,
on eBay, and the guy was
yeah.
like, "No, this is the real thing." And I was like, "No, it's not." And he said, "Well, I put it in the description." I said, "No, you didn't." He just had one tagline that just said, a different date than the actual print, and
Oh,
they get away
that's
with
so
that.
shady.
Yeah, yeah, it was one
Like
of my
you're
first
you're
experiences on
giving me
eBay.
like PTSD right now.
Ugh.
This is all of these compounded over many many years, is really kind of what got us to kick the can and starting
Right.
this. I mean, I've bought books on eBay, or I've actually sold books where people returned a completely different book than the one that they bought, claiming it was the same
Mhm.
one. And so it's a mess.
Yep.
It's a disaster. That's actually, if you made me think of something, but in terms of for sellers on Shortbox, it's actually a huge benefit for them of selling on Shortbox, is that because it's a blind marketplace, sellers don't know who the buyers are, and the buyers don't know who the sellers
Mhm.
are. We Shortbox, we actually handle all the support. We handle all the customer support questions. We handle all the issues and returns, or crack slabs or anything, all that good stuff. So sellers love that they don't have to deal with customers, which is
Interesting.
a feature of the app.
All right, there's some incentive for resellers. That's really awesome though. I mean, and you've got a great customer service team, and I mean, I
Oh,
know
they're
a few of
awesome.
them, and yeah, they're really cool folks. Now, I seem to remember, and you might too, but a couple of years back, maybe it was like a year and a half ago, but you guys got a pretty significant chunk of funding for the future of the company in Shortbox, and some investing. So I'm curious, what does that mean for the future of the company? I know you've been able to hire folks on. Are you guys going to be perhaps expanding into other graded collectible markets? Tell me a little bit about some of maybe what those funds are going to go for, or where you guys are headed for. At present day, where are you guys going?
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned, well, last year we announced a seed round of fundraising.
Mm,
We raised north of $2 million from some really notable investors and VCs out here in Silicon Valley. Some of the most respected venture capital firms um, i- i- in the valley, have invested in the company. And really, what that means is it's going to fuel our growth. And you said it earlier. It's going to be is on hiring and marketing and operations, and just really continuing to accelerate our development velocity. There's a lot of features that we have on a roadmap that we need to build, and it's mostly going towards basically just headcount, and marketing, and just continuing to grow this machine, and grow the ecosystem, and again just build our community and support the community as much as we can. We've put together an amazing team. We are constantly hiring. We've got folks coming from just some amazing technology companies out here, like Twilio and Stripe and Bandai Namco and Facebook and
wow.
Oculus. And so we just have amazing pedigrees from the top down all across the board in the company. And so, a lot of it's really just investing in good talent, to build, a truly next generation platform for this hobby. And so, uh, with regards to your question about, expanding into other verticals, right now we are heads down, 100% focused on comic books. That is the platform that we set out to build. We want to build the best platform for buying and selling comic books, and we're not there yet, right? There's still so much more to build. There's still so many more features to ship. There's still so much more growth to have, and that's really our focus, is on building the best platform for comic book collectors, um, first, right? Beyond that, obviously, there's opportunities for us to potentially expand into other verticals, but right now we are focused solely on comic books in this community. This is our community. This is where we want to put our focus on. We do not necessarily want to get distracted by building everything under the sun, or going after
Mm,
every audience under the sun, right?
right,
That
baby steps, baby steps.
right,
Okay.
we are not that kind of platform. We really truly care about the comic book community, and making sure that we go out and build the best possible platform for collectors just like us, because we are collectors. Every single person in the company is a collector of some sort. Almost every single person is a comic book nerd, and so it shows. It shows in the customer support. It shows in the product that we're building, and really that's really where we are right now, is just focusing heads down on building for the comic book community, because
All
that's
right.
really what we care about. That's where we can shine the most.
Totally respectable. I mean, that's where you guys started. Those are your roots, and it is admirable that you guys, even though you guys have become, you guys have gained such a following and you have such a community that honestly, if you were to just say, you know what, let's jump into graded video games, you probably could. But I appreciate that you guys are like, you know what, we can, and maybe someday, but right now we are focused on making sure that we can provide the best possible experience for all of our users. So that is really admirable,
100%.
and that's you don't always encounter people with integrity like that. So I appreciate you. So now, for somebody who might be uninitiated, how can they get in on the conversation of Shortboxed? I know you guys have your Instagram. You guys also run a Discord. This is me plugging you. You have a
Oh,
Discord that you guys
yeah,
can
our nice, good setup there, Devin.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Definitely join our Discord. Our Discord is super active, full of comic book nerds. Every single day, we're talking about every single thing related to comics. Weekly books that are coming out. People are specking on there, showing off books that they're buying. We do interviews. We do giveaways every single week. We have partnerships with all of the major comics publishers, and so we're just constantly doing fun, like trivia days and trivia events and giveaways on the Discord. And it's just, if you're a comic book nerd and you just want to hang out in a really active, lively forum, join our Discord and come hang out. It's just /Shortbox,
All right.
discord.tv/Shortbox. It's super easy to find.
And I'm assuming you have the link in your Instagram too, right?
Oh yeah, it's on there.
Right.
All our social, it's just @Shortbox, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We're the most active, I would say, on Instagram. Then of course, join our Discord and come hang out there, and just you'll find something to chat about in there for sure.
Perfect. Now, we still have a few minutes left. I am curious. So, I recently saw one of your guys talking about, you guys started a street team of. So, tell me about that, because I've been totally ignorant to that. So, tell me about your guys' street team. What is that and the purpose of it?
I love our street team. So really, just the whole point of our street team is just to connect with the community and have like much wider reach than we could on our own, right? It's every single collector, and again, Devin, you fall in this umbrella, but every single collector is different. Every single person has a different focus. Every single collector has different audiences and reach. And we were really just trying to think of a way to be able to connect with the community and reach other audiences that we necessarily maybe wouldn't be able to reach just on our own, or go into areas where we don't necessarily have the most expertise. So we've got folks on the street team who are experts in flea market hunting and then dollar bin diving and hunting good deals, and you have folks that focus on just modern spec, others that are experts in indie comics or just vintage comics solely, and golden age. It's really just a way to really connect with the community just across the board, because we have spent many years just building our own community, but now it's a lot of just how do we bring other communities into like you said earlier, the wider Shortbox community and the wider Shortbox ecosystem. And then they'll be attending conventions. They create content, whether it's videos, blogs, YouTube videos just like this, doing interviews, attending conventions, hanging out with the community, hosting events in their local towns. So we have folks in the street team, based in virtually every major metropolitan area around the country for now. And so you'll see them at conventions all over the place, either hanging out at our booth or hosting their own events, or just going live from the show floor, giving a true good POV from every show that they're at. So it's just a way for us to have fun with the community and really kind of give back and connect with them on a deeper level.
See, that's really cool. You said modern spec. That is one of the few things in comic books that I don't understand. And I was actually saying the other day, I need to like get somebody who is like an expert at modern speculation stuff that I can have come onto the channel and just explain it to me, because it is a foreign beast that I
you should have our street teamer Lex on Instagram. He's Godly Comics. He is the king of modern spec, and he could talk your ear off about all that.
I'll tell him you sent me, and I'd love to talk to so many. I mean, so many folks on your team. You guys have been growing. How big is your team now? Are you guys 10, 15, 20 people? Where are you at?
Yeah, we're about I think we're just officially over about 20 folks now. So,
20 folks.
we really grew from when it was just myself and BJ um,
Yeah,
working from home, from our home offices, to having, just a killer, headquarters in downtown San Francisco. So, constantly growing, constantly hiring, building the team. If any folks are interested in potentially working for Shortbox, just go to shortbox.com. We have all the open recs up on shortbox.com/jobs, so you can see if there's anything that's your fit, and anyone can reach out to me personally anytime.
cool. All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Gene, you know what, dude, this has been an awesome chat. I know you have such a busy schedule, dude, but I really appreciate you like taking the time to just like come and chat with me, talk comics,
Oh,
tell
this
me
is
your
fun. I love
story.
this.
Oh yeah, and I want to do more roundtables. I've been saying that to everybody I've podcasted with. I want to do roundtables and have all the guys just kind of get together, and girls, and just like talk about comics and nerddom and stuff. But I appreciate you. I'm going to put you out here so I can say bye to these viewers, and then I will catch up with you in just a minute. All right, my friend?
One last thing, Devin, if you don't
Yes,
mind me
sir.
going rogue right now.
Absolutely.
One, love your channel, and all the folks that are watching this. Thanks for at least taking the time to watch this. But I would love to hook everyone up watching this video with a promo code to use on Shortbox, whether it's your first order or your 100th order. So Devin will add the details to it in the description of the video. Just go there and find the promo code, and then have fun. Hopefully, find
Thank you.
something you like.
I see. I appreciate that so very much, folks. We'll make sure that is added in after the video here. It'll come up in my guy in the chair Compost will make it all
There you
pretty
go.
for you. So, all right, Gene, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you again. I'll catch up with you in just about 5 minutes. All right.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, buddy. All righty. Folks, you heard it here first. That was Gene of Shortboxed, the co-founder and co-owner of the company. It is an amazing, awesome app, as well as started as a blog with a really great team of folks. If you guys want to join the conversation with them, they have a link in their bio on Instagram, or I guess like Gene said, everything is at Shortboxed or /Shortboxed. So make sure you guys join their Discord, become a part of the community. I'm a part of it, and it's a great time. It's awesome. If you guys want to join my Discord as well, I run one with my buddy Nate. There will be a link in the description below, as well as the Collectors Room. You can also find our link on our Instagram, which is at Collectors Room. But that is it for today, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to support the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit the bell for notifications, and I will see you guys next Saturday.